Oh man, we're so hooped. We're in so much trouble. We're in so much trouble on planet Earth, and people are in outright denial of it. Even worse, they're in revolution against anything that might make the trouble not so bad. It's this utter rejection of progress. It's an utter rejection of technology, an utter rejection of science. That's like, climate change isn't happening. It's a hoax. And if I just scream loud enough, it won't be real. And it doesn't work that way. It's going to be real whether you like it or not. Joey Only Care About Weather Dude YouTube channel. The German Meteorological Society has released some very disturbing new things. I'm here to talk about it today. Let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. Ain't dry mopping this. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. Caribou Weather Dude is back again. Yes, so they're saying that 3 degrees warming by the year 2050 is entirely possible now. And I don't know why anyone's surprised about that, because the United Nations came out with a statement last year with the IPCC panel, right? So they already said a year ago that 3 degrees warming is entirely possible, that we've already skipped past 1.5 degrees. That was our goal back then. I remember saying back then, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to set a goal so low that reaching it won't actually change the fact that we have runaway climate change. 1.5 was too low. It was too low all the time. And not only that, no one was willing to do anything about it. Not only are they not willing to do about it, we now have a fascist revolution that's partly out of fear of the climate change activists. They're in total fear. And it's like this. It's like, well, a billionaire told me it's a hoax and we should just keep everything as it is. So that's what I believe. There's an active campaign fighting against it. All right? So what's happened is we had this period of progress that happened for a little while in Western societies where things like equality and treatment of people who are different than you, where we started seeing rights for queer and marginalized group improve. We started seeing people talking about climate change. The science became accepted. We were going to do something about it. And then you had this like right-wing reaction of like, no, the progress people are going to win. We have to double down and make sure the earth is destroyed. As of late September 2025, statements from the German Meteorological Society and the German Meteorological Service, DWD and DMG, warn of accelerated warming trends indicating the world could reach or surpass 3 degrees Celsius of warming by mid-century under the worst-case emission scenario. And now, why is this realistic? Because the worst-case emission scenario is probably going to happen. We're at 2025 now. We've had 25 years of spinning our wheels in the mud and barely changing anything. Do you think another 25 years is going to make a difference while we're fighting? Everybody who's going to make sure that we can't effectively do anything to make this better? Don't kid yourself. 3 degrees by mid-century, that's a scary possibility. We are in a runaway situation where everything's compounding itself more and more and more. It's like, well, the more the Arctic melts, the more that we have these large sink beds of methane cooking at river mouths, the more that methane goes in the air and speeds up the rate of climate change. So we have this like runaway effect that's already happening because of methane release, the carbon sinks and methane release that for like the next 100 years or whatever is going to continue to rise no matter what we do. And we could stop doing everything right now. We're still going to go through a period of rising temperatures. So the 1.5 Celsius target is missed. The scientific community at the German Extreme Weather Congress in 2023 acknowledged that the 1.5 Celsius limit of the Paris Agreement had factually failed. As of January 2025, 2024 was confirmed as the first calendar year to surpass the 1.5 C threshold. So we used to be talking about like, well, we just got to keep climate change down to 1.5 C. And I was like, you know what? If you're not willing to change everything about how civilization is running right now, you're never going to make 1.5 C. It's like this, it's a phony target you put up there that, well, people won't panic because it's only 1.5 C. That means we're not trying to change everything to that we're doing. Well, the reality was 1.5 C wasn't good enough. We have to change everything we're doing. And that's becoming harder and harder and harder because there's a full-on fascist revolution going on right now to make sure that we can't change anything, to make sure that we can't have any effect. So the warming is accelerating. The DWD noted in April 2025 that warming is accelerating. The disproportionate rise in temperature in recent years compared to older linear models. It's getting warmer faster. Okay, this is reflected in the Deutsche Welle meteorological organization's observation that variability of weather is also increasing with more pronounced wet and dry periods. So Germany is warming higher than the global average, they say. Well, so is Canada. The DWD reported Germany is experiencing serious consequence of climate change with its temperature rising faster than previously believed. In 2021, Germany's average temperature increased by 1.6 Celsius compared to the global average of 1.1 Celsius at the time. What does 3 Celsius mean? It means extreme heat. Land areas would warm at roughly double the rate of global average, leading to more frequent and intense heat waves. So researchers have described a scenario of 3 to 4 Celsius warming by Germany by the end of the century as the Mediterraneanization of the climate. It means that Germany will become more and more like Italy, is what they're saying, right? A study of German cities found that 3 Celsius warming, heat-related mortality would start to surpass cold-related mortality. At 4 degrees Celsius global temperature rise, heat-related mortality is projected to increase 5-fold. Water-related risks, such as extreme precipitation, drought, storm surge would increase. Higher sea surface temperatures would lead to greater proliferation of bacteria. Ecosystem pressure, biodiversity would come under pressure, particularly in ecosystems with low resilience. Now, here's the part where they're like, they're talking about, well, what about the call for action? They've urged politicians to take immediate and drastic action. Emissions reductions. Here's the problem is, you're talking about emissions reductions and you're not fundamentally changing the way the economy works. The economic system is bent on constant progress, constant growth, more profit. We got to raise more money for our shareholders. In this economic system, reduction of emissions is factually impossible, especially when oil companies have billions of dollars to spend on propaganda to convince people that climate change isn't happening at all. How much money is being spent given to here's the thing that is absolutely heartbreaking for me is I'm a podcaster and I'm struggling to get my message out there. Well, if I was a podcaster willing to say that climate change is a hoax, people in the oil industry or their satellite organizations would show up to offer me money. This kind of stuff happens all the time. The amount of money being spent on pushing right-wing and conspiracy theories is out of control, right? So they're calling for further and drastic reduction in emissions. Sure, Germany has had some benefit of this. Like Germany has seen a fair reduction in their emissions lately. That's true, but it's a drop in the bucket globally as the entire world continues to spin out of control. And while you have like countries like America where everyone's just like, it's not happening. I don't want to accept reality. I'm too weak to accept reality. I'm too afraid. I don't want to change. Right? So do you think, we're going to just voluntarily, and this was the problem with the 1.5C expectation we once had, is no one was going to voluntarily do enough to get us to that point. Canada wasn't going to do it. No one was going to do it. They set these arbitrary limits. They're feel good. What they'll do is help us cope with the reality we're in. Well, no, we're doing something. When in reality, we're not doing enough. You're going to have to defeat the economic system as it is and destroy billionaires. We have to end billionaires. And that's like what the whole Trump revolution's about, is making sure people like me are silenced because, his backers are billionaires. You're going to let a guy like Donald Trump try to tell you that climate change isn't real, and you're going to sit there and just eat it up and be like, well, he said it, so I'm going to believe it because that's what I want to believe. Is Donald Trump... are these rich people the ones who care about our planet? No, they don't care. They want more power, more money. So due to the inevitability of some degree of further warming, adaptation measures are necessary. That's right. So we're going to have to prepare ourselves to survive a 3-degree warming scenario. It's absolutely terrifying, my friends. Okay, I'm going to talk about more of this stuff on the channel today. I got a bunch of small videos I'm going to put out there. So just keep tuning in, keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and we'll be talking to you soon, everybody. Okay, talk soon. Bye now.